Yes. So we were just chatting about the weather, and that's always fun to chat about the weather. And I'm happy that you decided to come today. And I'm going to spotlight me. And hi, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be here too.
Two.
Let's see. It's cool, sunny and cold. I love all the seasons. It was raining heavier earlier in Dallas. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome. I am happy you're here. I'm happy to be here. I am going to pull up my slides so I have those available, and we will get right into our presentation today. It's always a handful to try to get the slides going, get everything going at the same time. Let's see. You could probably see some of my slides. If you can't see it, let me know. You can just type in the chat, or you can even pop off of mute so you can. Okay. There we go. Yay. Hi, Linda. I see you. Good. Glad you're here. People will probably come on and off, and that is totally fine with me. So whatever you need to do, please do that. I am happy you're here. Welcome to Mindful Eating, linking body, mind, and spirit to food. Can you see my slides? Just give me a thumbs up or a heck yeah or woohoo or okay, good. Thank you so much for that. Linking body, mind, and spirit to food. So this is a fun topic for me. And my name is Nicole Vienneau. It said like piano with a V. If you're wondering what that spelling is, it's French. I'm from Canada originally. I'm a registered nurse. I am also a board certified nurse coach, and I'm the founder of Blue Monarch Health. And I am focusing on actively aging, and that's my specialty. I'm an active aging specialist and a menopause fitness expert and lots of other stuff, which we'll see in a minute. Here's my slide of all my certifications and blah, blah, blah. But really, I started nursing over 2 decades ago, became a nurse. And prior to that, 3 decades ago, I became really interested in health and well-being. And I became a group fitness instructor way back in the day when we used to have the YMCA, which we still do, but we used to have step aerobics. And I was talking to my friend yesterday, and we were reminiscing about the outfits we used to wear when we used to do our step aerobics, because we had the one-piece unitard, and then we would wear tights underneath that. And then we had bunchy socks, and we had little high top running shoes, and everybody wore that stuff. It was amazing. And those were really fun times. And I was really interested in group fitness, and I became a teacher back when I was 17 years old, after I just became so inspired by what was going on in the doors of the YMCA. And so ever since then, I've been really interested in health and well-being, and all along my journey in nursing, I was also interested in health and well-being and would teach group fitness through all of that. I've just put up my email here just in case you have any questions after this webinar. You're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm very easy and accessible to connect with, so please feel free to do that. Because part of my story related to the topic of mindful eating has to do with my history in fitness. And I was doing fitness all the way through my nursing journey, coupled with working in the intensive care unit. And I was really, really great at teaching group fitness, and still am very, very great. So good, in fact, that I was honored enough to be a national fitness presenter for an organization. I was a Reebok sponsored fitness athlete. You can imagine the competitiveness of this type of world and the body imagery of being in this type of world. And I have worked very hard to overcome some of the dramatic body changes that I experienced in my fitness career. And mindful eating has been a piece of this journey. I was even a fitness competitor, so much to the point where I was on stage in a bikini and 6-inch heels in a women's fitness competition. One of my stories, which is related to this topic today, is when I was doing this fitness competition just before I turned 40. This is over 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I was in the break room at work, still a nurse, and there was a box of donuts there. Now, to be in a fitness competition, to wear a barely bikini and walk in 6-inch heels, which was like the ultimate challenge for me, you really have to be paying attention to your food and, of course, paying attention to your workouts, etc. But it becomes overbearing. It becomes everything you think of, everything you do is related to what you eat and how you eat and all of that. So in the break room, there was a box of donuts, and I was about 2 weeks out to my competition, and I really wanted a donut. And I said to myself, well, no, you can't have a donut because you're going to be on a stage with the bikini on. You work so hard, you're going to ruin everything if you eat the donut. So I left the break room. And the donuts, I swear to gosh, the jelly donut, it was calling my name. Nicole, come and eat me. Eat me. I am here for you. You love me. I love you. Come eat me. So I went back into the break room and I listened to the donut for a little bit and stared at it, opened the box. I smelled them all, closed the box, and I left again. And then I kept looking over my shoulder, like, is someone going to be seeing me watching these donuts? I kept looking like over my shoulder. And so then I went back into the break room and I opened the box again and I took out the donut, the powdered ones with the powder on top and the jelly inside. And I ate the whole donut. I just shoved the whole thing in my mouth while looking over my shoulder, saying, is anybody going to see me doing this? Is anybody going to see me? And all of this anxiety and all of this pressure on myself for doing this competition, but I ate the donut. Now, I was so angry with myself the whole day after eating that donut. Like I had just lost all respect for myself. And it really threw me into a tailspin because I had done that. Now, I will say, I look pretty good seeing myself in the middle there, pretty good, but unsustainable for the long term and not recommended that anybody actually do this competition because it really messes with your mind, and eating is a big piece of it. So I wanted to let you know that story because I have real firsthand experience of what anxiety can do for eating and the pressures of eating, and let alone the pressures of my life. But what about society and the vision of society's view on women and how we should look and yada, 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 and all the pressures upon us. And I want to bring to light that we can all go through hard times and we can all find moments of recovery from things that we've been challenged with. And I'm not saying that I am the expert on mindful eating. I am still along the journey with you. And I've just learned some things along the way that I wanted to share today because it's a good thing to talk about. And when we share, we come together and we connect. It helps make life just all that much better and much easier. So this is for you if you've had guilt before, during, or after eating anything, or you eat in front of the computer or TV and you don't even know what you ate, or you've second-guessed your food choices, or you've struggled with food and your identity, or you want to just continue to be filled with life and vitality, and you want all the tips and tools to be able to do that. And really that's what my presentation is going to be all about, is being filled with energy and vitality and, just being vital in our bodies and doing what we can do to feel our best, our strongest, no matter what area of life we're in and what our trajectory of life is. Thank you, Kimberly, for sharing your story too. Yes, it is an issue and it's difficult to, overcome. And it's always kind of sitting there on the back of your shoulder over here when we're talking about eating. So thank you for being here, everyone. And let's talk about vitality. Actually, before we even get there, let's do a poll because polls are fun. So I'm going to launch this poll. The question is, in my youth, my parents said, clean your plate. People are starving. All right, hopefully you can see the poll. Maybe you can answer the poll if it comes up. In my youth, my parents said, clean your plate. People are starving. I remember this very clearly. My mom definitely said that all the time. And, our history helps shape our future, right? So I see the answers to the poll, and here they are. Let's share the results. Um, so, out of the six of us who answered the question, 6 out of 6 of us said that in our youth, our parents said, clean your plate, people are starving. Do you feel, and you could pop off mute or stay in the chat, do you feel that your history affects the way you see food now?
I feel like I've learned better now. I can leave things on my plate. I don't need to clean it off. For that reason, I sometimes do just because I'm trying to save money to pay off some bills. And so I'm putting the leftovers away and eating them the next time, but I'm still cleaning the plate, just not in one meal necessarily. Um, and and I would love to eat straight organic food all the time, but I can't afford to anymore. And I really pine for that. So I sort of do a combination, whatever is available. And I realize that that contributes to my joint aches and other things, but that's the way it goes. But I do clean my plate in two or three settings sometimes, but
Yeah.
not all.
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, I mean, of course, we're making do with what we have. We're making do with our history. We're adjusting as we go. And some of you are saying, yes, absolutely. I tend to eat fast from working as a nurse in a hospital with few lunch breaks. Yeah. And um, Emily says, I was anorexic as a teen. My mom is still very focused on her weight and staying slim. She tells me her weight every time I talk to her. So, yes, our parents are so influential. Food is my addiction, habit, comfort, and definitely stress eating. I mean, there's so much related to food. Food is a powerful factor in our lives. Thank you for sharing all of those thoughts around that. And, like I said, I don't have all the answers, and I know we don't have all the answers. We're just humans who are trying to do the best that we can do. Some of us are struggling with eating, still struggling with eating, and this is just, not a presentation that says this is a must do. This is this stuff you have to do. This is just a conversation and just time to come together and share. So thank you for answering that. This can bring up things for us as we talk about it too. So just knowing that if you need to take a moment to go off, to go on mute, to just do that, take a few breaths and join back when you'd like to. I promise I'm not going to try to make this a drag though. So we're going to talk about what mindful eating is, how mindful eating builds our health, and how pleasure boosts our metabolism and helps us feel really good. And then I also promise this number one secret of how to create energy and vitality every day. So we'll talk about that briefly towards the end too. And of course, as we go along, there may be some questions you have along the way, or maybe you want to learn more about something. And I have an offering towards the end of our presentation today, which you can consider if you would like to continue the journey for discovering more about food and how it affects you. So first I want to just touch on what mindfulness is. Mindfulness. We've all heard of this, I'm sure. If you put in the little emojis at the bottom, maybe if you have a thumbs up, you've heard of mindfulness, or maybe a thumbs down if you've never heard of mindfulness. But I'll just do a little quick brief on reminder of what mindfulness is. So mindfulness is really just being on purpose in the moment, And this part is most important to me as I flow through life, is being on purpose in the moment without judging myself for it, or judging myself in the situation, or judging myself for whatever. I could list a laundry list of things. Mindfulness is being responsible for our own choices. And its mindfulness is like being open and curious about what's going on instead of closed. And it's also trying to disassociate or disconnect to strong attachments or beliefs that we have, or strong thoughts or emotions that we have, and staying real connected to that. We want to actually disconnect some of that, but without judgment, being curious, being open. And then we also want to try to use our senses when we are being mindful. So we're actually being thoughtful, I guess, is a way to think about it. Thoughtful instead of being mindless when we are in the moment. So yeah, mindfulness. And I always like this question, because is our mind full, or are we being mindful? Yeah, my mind is often very full. And I have to shut myself down a lot of times to say, okay, let's take a moment. It's okay. I don't need to judge myself for having a mind full of junk. But I will take a moment to just be mindful about that. So let's talk about what mindful eating is. Oh, I see somebody in the chat. Let me see here. I love that picture. Which one? The one before? Which picture? Let's see if I can get back on it. This one? The mindful one? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I love that.
Cool. I'll send it when I send a follow-up email. I'll put that in there so you can just save it to your phone.
Thank you. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So mindful eating. Mindful eating is a way to use all of your senses when we eat. And the senses are used to really satisfy ourselves and to nourish ourselves. So we know our senses are our sight, our smell, our taste, our hearing, our touch, and maybe any other sense that you could think of, maybe your intuition as you go through as a sense. So we notice all of the positive opportunities in choice of the foods, and also in the preparation of food. And I always think this is a great one to do around Thanksgiving and Christmas, because we're all preparing a lot of foods for different people. And sometimes the preparation piece is difficult, right? It's hard work, one. Two, it's like, man, where's everybody else? They're all watching the game, and here I am slaving over this food. And what would happen, or what could happen if we stop for a moment and instead started putting love into our food, or asked people who are watching the game to come and help with the food, to have some company while we're preparing food, and those choices that we're making as we're preparing, and that we are preparing foods because we want to nourish ourselves and we want to nourish each other. And then we also want to, in mindful eating, acknowledge our responses to food. Acknowledging our responses to food, but without any judgment of that. So for me, I dislike broccoli. Broccoli is not my favorite thing. Put some broccoli in front of me and I'm like, oh God, broccoli. You know, I have a whole dissertation about why I don't like broccoli. And if I could just, I'm working on things, right? I'm continuously working on them. Acknowledge the food without judging the broccoli. Like the broccoli has a say, right? But I'm trying to become aware of those set responses that I already have about food, and just acknowledge them without judging myself, and being aware of them. And also being aware of hunger, and being aware of satiety sensations. How many of us use like a scale that asks ourselves, are we really hungry? Like on a scale, like if we use a pain scale, like 0 is no hunger, 1 is a little tiny bit of hunger, like 3 might be that I'm just bored, but 10 is like, I'm really hungry. And is there opportunity in our lives to incorporate something like that? And I put this picture on here because where do you see a lot of judgment in this person as she's judging herself for what she is choosing to eat? A piece of bread. I mean, a piece of bread is food. But there's judgment in there, and releasing some of that self-judgment is easier said than done. I know this, and I know all of you can relate to this so much. Oh, I just wanted to, I'm putting in little bits of testimonials in here because I'm offering you an offer at the end of this, which is all about an elimination food process. But I just want to let you know about Bonnie. She was trying to figure out a pesky intolerance that she had to food, and it was corn that was an intolerance to her, and it's caused her a lot of problems to her life, and she would have never known until she did an elimination food plan. So I just wanted to let you know about Bonnie, and she's actually a registered nurse. She's a nurse practitioner who does functional medicine, so it's fun. So I don't know about you, but are you a multitasker? We want to, I put, we all are multitaskers. You can put the thumbs up or you can put the thumbs down. Did you know that we eat on average about 72 minutes a day with all of our meals? This is just a study that was done at Brigham and Women's Hospital, in 2016. And what they saw from the study was that we spend about 72 minutes a day eating. And we spend about 2.5 to 3 hours a day watching TV a day. That's a lot. And in that study, 66% of the respondents said that they eat dinner while watching television. The study went on to further connect that their digestive process was less effective by 30 to 40% when they were mindless. I just find this so fascinating because how many of you eat at the computer? I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand. I eat at the computer. I sometimes eat at the TV. I sometimes eat while I'm in a rush. Yeah. And yes, and we're all like, we're not guilty of that. We're not trying not to judge ourselves. It's just that this is what our habits do. We're not judging ourselves. We're not telling us we're bad. We're not telling us we're good if we don't. It's just, it is what it is, right? But when we're mindless, our digestive system is 30 to 40% less strong, the process. And we have increased gas and bloating and indigestion. And I thought the study was very interesting because I started thinking about this after I gulped down a whole meal that I didn't even know that I ate because I was at the TV, like this lady here. And except I don't have a cigarette. But, I'm not judging anything. This is reality. This is what we do. And what about our children too? And I noticed that I was paying attention to myself after I would mindlessly eat, and I was having more farts. I admit it, my farts were more. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's because I probably am like eating everything so fast. And again, I'm trying not to judge myself, and I certainly am not judging you. So I do want to let you know that mindful eating can help us reduce our caloric intake. It can help us make healthier food choices. I know, of course, when I'm starting to think about eating healthier food, I actually do make healthier food choices. And if I don't, I'm really trying not to judge myself. It also helps us decrease our susceptibility to hunger cues. It should be actually, I'm not sure that makes sense. It increases our susceptibility to hunger cues. So we can actually pay attention because we are mindfully becoming aware of our cues of hunger. And it enhances a positive mood. And this is from a 2016 study. Let's see, there's a question on here. Do you like bitter greens? No, I have not. Is this must I don't like them. If so, we try broccoli rabe. Yes, I've tried that. Yes, steam it over Italian sausage. I love that. Thank you for that tip. Thanks, Linda. Oh, I love that. So mindful eating has a lot of benefits. And I think mindful eating for myself, and I'm saying this for myself, mindful eating has helped me to take away some of the judgment of myself for eating certain foods. All right. So I'd love for us to try it. So I brought myself, I'm going to stop my share and come back onto the screen to see you all. I brought myself some pineapple I just cut. What did you all bring for your tasty foods? If you can. I know, Maxine, you're in the car, so you may not be ready to taste anything. Oh, so Kim has an apple. Oh, I see apples. Oh, I see Linda has apple. Susan has apple. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And it's okay. You don't need to be on screen. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you have. We are going to use our senses to eat whatever we have here. Okay. So if you would like to participate, you can. Oh, yes, I love apple and peanut butter too. And apple and almond butter, apple and cheese whiz. I like that too. So the first sense we're going to use is actually just our eyes. So take a moment here, use your eyes to look at your morsel of food that you have in front of you. And if you would like to, type in the chat what you see. Or just come off chat and just say a couple of words of what you see. So for me, I see yellow, texture, rough texture, strings. What do you see? Nourishment. What else do you see? Multicolored red, oranges, and yellow speckled smooth skin. Ooh, beautiful. Red tomatoes, nuts, cheese. Lovely. Okay, next thing we're going to do is touch it. Oh, here's Linda. Smooth red and green too. Large one sitting. Large for one sitting. Large for one sitting. I see. The apple size. Yeah. Okay. No judgment in that, of course. So touch it. See what you feel. Oh, and Lisa says, I see energy. She sees energy in her food. And as you're touching it, do the same. What do you feel when you're touching it with your fingers? So for me, I have a cut pineapple. So mine is slimy, juicy, slippery, cool, smooth apple. Smooth, yes, cool and smooth. Cool, smooth, skin, firm. Okay, next up, we're going to smell. And do the same. Type in the chat or just pop off and say something. Oh, smooth, waxed. Oh, yeah, from the store. Sweet. I smell sweet, sugary. What do you smell? No real smell because I haven't cut it. I also smell earth, earthy. Sweet and tart. Okay. Is anyone getting excited because you know taste is coming? Sweet, fruity childhood memories of apple eating. Beautiful. Okay, so this next part is going to be a two-step. Actually, it's three. So you're going to, okay, don't do anything yet, just listen. You're going to take a bite and you're going to notice a few things. Taste, sound, Okay. Taste and sound. And you can chew it. Actually, yeah, go ahead and chew it and swallow. We'll do it that way. Taste and sound, and then type into the chat. And you may even notice touch in here too, right? And anything else you notice as you do it. I hear crunchy. You can hear my crunching probably. I got to get on this chat here. Got a whole bunch coming in. Sweet, crispy, enjoyable. Crisp, loud, juicy, sweet and tart. Sweet explosion of a summer garden. Tart, crunchy, sweet. Does anyone notice any taste buds? Any squishy? I have a squishiness back here in my taste buds. Okay, now that you've swallowed, what do you notice after you swallow? Increased salivation? Yes, increased salivation. To keep going on this, I don't mind. I don't want to push you along too quickly. Increased salivation. I'm licking my thumbs, my fingers. I notice I'm swallowing again, even though I don't have anything in my mouth. What else do you notice? Savory. Savory. And after it's gone down, what are you noticing? Still, is Jennifer still hungry? I only had one bite. That's appropriate. Yeah, right. No judgment. Satisfaction. Lips are moist and little pieces in my teeth. Absolutely. I was doing I got those little strings from the pineapple stuck in my tooth, little finger in there. Yeah. Awesome. And are you noticing, like for me, I'm just talking about myself. So I notice that I would like another bite. So I'm going to have one. You choose what you'd like to do. And perhaps if you don't, write in a comment. And perhaps if you did, write in a comment again of what you notice in self and your experience of senses. Ooh. More saliva and extra swallows. Tend to do air that way, discomfort later. A juicy burst of sweetness. More aware of the apple smell. And if you'd like to take time to have another, you're welcome to. I have to stop myself from just keeping going. Okay. But it's okay to have another bite. We're exploring. Kim says, yes, I can smell it now. Brings back memories of growing up and times I took my kids apple picking. I feel like I need a drink of water, so I'm going to have one. So I'd love for us to either type in the chat, what did you learn from doing that? Or if you have a brief statement you want to pop off of onto talk to us, you're welcome to do that too. What did you notice about yourself? No judgment, just noticing. So Jennifer says she eats fast. Kim says how much pleasure eating brings, and I too eat fast. Connection, since I'm eating with other people. It has been a substitution for other pleasures in my life many times. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for doing that with me too. How many of us eat like that normally? Like every meal? Never. Yeah, right. Never, never. I noticed there's a little bit in me as I was doing that I liked it. Sometimes, but not often enough. Yeah. But no judgment of anything. It's just noticing of self. And what could happen if maybe 1 or 2 bites were eaten like that? We don't know. I'm just going to come back to my slides. Again, there's no judgment of anything. It is just exploring. Let's see, resume slideshow. Let's see if it will resume. Resume. All right. Yeah, so what did we notice in ourselves? Again, no judgment of any kind, just noticing. So one of my clients, Marla, said she was bloated, she was inflamed, she couldn't understand why she couldn't feel any better. She didn't sleep well. She had a friend who suggested to do the elimination food plan. And she is one of my best clients now. She's the one. She says, I'm now filled with powerful information and tools that I will use for the rest of my life. And the biggest lesson I learned is that food is medicine. Yes. All right. So I want to talk about pleasure because, pleasure came up in the chat too. That sometimes pleasure can get in the way. So I want to talk about something called vitamin P. It's actually really interesting study. So I love to read studies and, have some science to back up what we're learning here. So there's a study of 2 groups of women. So one group was Thai from Taiwan, and the second group was from Sweden. So what they wanted to do was check the iron absorption of certain foods. So what they did was they had the same amount of iron in each meal. So for the Thai women, they made a Thai dish. And for the Swedish women, they made a Swedish dish. And they had made sure that they had the same amount of iron in each of the dishes for all of the women. And so the Swedish women ate their Swedish meatballs and the Thai women ate their Thai food. And they had their iron absorption as was indicated. So everything was fine. The great iron absorption from the meals. So then what they did was they took the Thai women and they made them, or they asked them, and I guess they made them because it's a study, they made them eat Swedish meatballs. And they took the Swedish women and they had them eat the Thai food. Now this is not Americans who are Thai. This is people who live in Taiwan, people who live in Sweden. And what they discovered when they mixed up the meals, like the Swedish women ate the Thai food and the Thai women ate the Swedish food, that their iron absorption was much, much less. And they attributed that because every time they ate the food that they were very unfamiliar with and actually did not like, there was no pleasure in the food that they ate. So their iron, they did not absorb any of the nutrients. Another study that I thought was really fascinating was a study related to rats. And what they did with the rats was not a nice thing, and they never do nice things to rats, unfortunately. But what they did was they destroyed the the pleasure center of food, first sensation, a taste of food in the rats. And they had one group where they did that to the rats, and they had one group where they did not. They fed the rats exactly the same food, the same amount of nutrients. Bye-bye, Linda. No problem. Have a good day. And what they did with they fed the rats the same amount of food, the same amount of nutrients. They treated the rats exactly the same, and the rats ate the food. Both sets of rats ate the food that they were given. And what happened was the rats who had the sensation of in the prefrontal cortex, that spot in their brain, ablated or destroyed, they couldn't taste anything. Those rats died, and they died of malnourishment. And it is fascinating to me because pleasure comes into play when we are eating. Like, are we having pleasure with the foods that we eat, or are we afraid of having pleasure? And because we're eating, because of our views on food, like I've said, I can't believe I ate all of that, or I really need to lose weight, or I shouldn't eat that, or I hope no one sees what I'm eating. And my story about the donut, I mean, that was all about that. Or I won't be able to stop. I'm having fear of eating. And what we are not really connecting to is that food actually helps us have pleasurable sensations. Our brains actually are excreting endorphins to help us feel good when our digestive system is working. So there is pleasure in eating from a physiological standpoint. And it's not, we have somehow disassociated that eating should be or can be pleasurable, and appetite is woven together with pleasure. So when we eat with pleasure, it increases our endorphins, it stimulates fat metabolism, and it helps increase our digestion and our calorie burning. And another thing that happens is CCK, or cholecystokinin, is released. It helps with our digestion. It helps our hypothalamus say that we're full. We're shutting down our appetite, and it tells us to stop eating. So all of these things are going on when we're actually having pleasure, and we are directly linked to pleasure. There are so many things that in our bodies that are bringing us pleasure. But when we eat with stress, or we are stressed out about eating, or we're eating in that way, we're actually denying our pleasure, and we're causing our stress hormones to become elevated. And of course, when stress hormones become elevated, things like cortisol, it desensitizes us to having pleasure. And some other things like there's this neuropeptide Y that gets excreted. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens that cause us to look for food. And when we don't have pleasure, we start to look for more food because our hormones are telling us to do that. So it's really quite fascinating when all of this starts, when we start to think about that. And that also decreases our metabolism. And this is that neuropeptide Y. It just makes us search for food. It's highest in the morning because we're supposed to be eating in the morning. And it's also highest when we're dieting. So it's really interesting to see all of this indicators in our bodies. And really, we are creatures that actually hunt down pleasure. So we're looking for pleasure. And when we don't get it, we are actually physiologically driven to want more or get more. So just something to think about. The study that I was referring to, the couple of studies, is this interesting article written by Mark David. And he's very much in the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. So his work is excellent and fascinating. And he says, when you're turned on by food, you turn on your metabolism. So when we get excited about eating, when we're finding pleasure in eating in whatever capacity that can be, like when we were eating our foods and we were recalling memories of those pleasurable times, that is helping us digest. It is helping us assimilate those calories and those nutrients. So I did want to tell you about the number one secret to health and vitality. And that's just to make yourself a priority. I think we all know this, right? Making ourselves a priority and doing things for ourselves is imperative. So before I go into the offer that I want to tell you about and how we can continue working together, I wanted to just open it up to ask any questions if you have questions about anything that I've shared about mindful eating. Let's come off here. And I think I'm going to mindfully eat another piece of my pineapple while I'm waiting. No questions are coming, so I'm going to keep going. All right. All right. So I did want to tell you about a new a program I'm offering in January. It's called the Renew Elimination Food Plan. For anyone who is concerned about if you have a sensitivity to any type of food, or if you have an intolerance to certain food, or if you are a person who's constantly having indigestion or gut bloating or headaches or pimples that show up, or irritation, or just wanting to know more about how food affects you, I suggest joining along for the Renew Elimination Food Plan. I have a 5-step program. One is that we raise awareness of where we are right now through some questionnaires, through some conversations. There is an online learning platform where we educate and engage, teach you everything you need to know about what the Elimination Food Plan is, and then we navigate through it together. And then we evaluate ourselves to see, okay, what are we even doing? Like, how is food really affecting us? Because some of us don't even know. And I have an example of a few people who never knew. I had an 83-year-old woman do this with me. And she said, Nicole, I had no idea that my whole life I was clearing my throat because I have a sensitivity to dairy. Now, of course, dairy is, of course, related to enzymes, certain enzymes that some of us don't produce, and lactose intolerance and so forth. But she didn't ever connect the two things together. So she switched from dairy to having soy milk for her, for almond milk, actually. And her clearing of her throat stopped. And she said, it took me 83 years to figure this out. And I've had a lot of different people experience different things related to food that they never really knew, because we actually take away foods that are known to be highly sensitive for about 21 days. You have a choice, 21 days or 27 days, you could do it. And we try to eat more foods from the earth. So more phytonutrients, more fruits, more vegetables, more different grains, different things that we may not be normally eating, because we're all creatures of habits and we tend to eat the same foods all the time. Doing this allows your body to reset, your gut to start to heal. It's not going to completely heal in 21 days, but you're going to have certain things that start to happen and reset your body. And then after the 21 or 27 days, we return the foods one at a time. This is the most important time because it is your time to actually see, is that food, that one food that I'm bringing back, for example, it could be beef. I'm going to bring back beef. Some of you may not even eat beef, but if you did, you'd bring it back. You'd have removed it for 21 days. You'd bring it back and you'd try one serving of beef and you would pay attention to how you feel. If you felt symptoms like gut bloating and so forth, you would know potentially that beef is a factor that could be causing you some of the symptoms and signs that you've been having. So you could choose then. Continue to eat beef or limit it, or find a threshold for the amount of beef that you could potentially eat without having symptoms. So it's really I call it an experiment to find your best health related to food, because it's one factor that we can have a say in. Definitely, we have a say in many, many things, but food is one thing that a lot of people don't attribute or give enough weight to when we're talking about health and well-being. So you can find this offering at my website, which I should put it in the chat, shouldn't I? At Blue Monarch Health. /renew. health.com/renew. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, if that's going to be a clickable link because I didn't put the HTTP business in front of it. And because you're coming to today's presentation, you get $100 off. So it's only $197. This offer ends at 12/14. And I will say this program is like 8 weeks long. It's not just a sit around program. You're going to be actively learning. You're going to be choosing to come on a weekly group call. We have a private Facebook group. I have recipe booklets, food lists, ongoing support. You have me for 8 weeks. It is fun. We have a good time. We always have a blast. And I would love to have you be part of it. So please consider your price, only $197 for 8 weeks. I want to keep it reasonable for people. I want to be able to offer these services for you. All right, I'm going to take myself off screen share, stop sharing, and see. Do you have any questions for me? About anything? Comments, concerns, issues? Here's a link for it. Will you be doing this again later? I have so many obligations happening over the next 6 weeks. Well, I usually only do it once a year because January is the best time to do it because there aren't any holidays. Like sometimes you do it in the middle of the year and there's a lot of holidays like 4th of July and different things like that that people struggle with. So what I found is the best time to do it is in January because there is Valentine's Day, but Valentine's Day is not really a big deal. So that's why I only do it once a year. However, if you wanted to do it on your own or maybe with your family member, I would be happy to work it out with you when you find a time that you think you would want to do it. It's just that you wouldn't be doing it with a group that we're all doing it together. And actually this time around, I'm doing it as well. I'm doing it as well. I need to have a reset and relook at some of the food sensitivities that I have. All right, my friends. Any other questions for me or commentary or anything like that? I have a client who is implementing mindful eating. I'm with her every step of the way. Yes, absolutely. Good. Thanks, Lisa. I might have to look at next year. Yes, so much going on, but that's a great offer. Thank you. Yes, I love doing it. It's so much fun. We have such a good time in the group. And it's, if there's a challenging thing that you want to do in your life, it is removing foods for 21 days. But when you can do it with other people, it makes it so much more better. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. And along the way, I am available, Nicole at bluemonarchhealth.com. So please feel free to reach out to me anytime, anywhere. I am always available for you. Thank you so much, everyone. Mwah. Have a day. It doesn't have to be a good one. Just have a day. Okay. Bye-bye.